Well, welcome to this groundbreaking ceremony for the CCR infrastructure. We're here, my name's Joe Meyer, I'm the mayor of Covington, and we're here today to celebrate adversity and resilience and new beginnings and a vision and a willingness to follow it. In 2016, Covington was gobsmacked when the IRS announced the closing of the Covington IRS Center due to technological obsolescence, being a paper processing plant in the midst of a computerization and online tax filing world. The IRS Center was viewed as Covington's salvation during the 1960s. It promised to bring suburban amenities and a lot of jobs to a city losing its economic base and population to the appeal of suburbanization. It was a facility promised by President John F. Kennedy to Congressman Brent Spence, and a promise that was honored by President Lyndon Baines Johnson, despite the best effort of Covington's competitors. Well, after 62 years, that salvation was lost to the passage of time and the tide of economic and technological process. How would Covington replace the jobs? Replace the local tax revenue? How would Covington deal with this slice of fenced-in suburbia surrounded by a traditional urban core? Covington is a city that has experienced a lot of adversity over the years, adversity that has toughened us and given us the strength of character to be ourselves. We dealt with the setback with the determination to turn that liability into an asset, and we did it the Covington way, foregoing the appeal of turning this 23-acre site over to a private developer, like the banks, like Ovation, and surrender to their vision. Instead, we saw the opportunity to unwind the urban renewal mindset of the 60s with a vision of the creation of a new neighborhood that would reintegrate with the urban fabric. A neighborhood that would complement Muddergata's, Mainstrasse, Roebling Point, and Licking Riverside. A neighborhood that would be authentic, reestablish the urban grid to ensure connectivity, that would be mixed use, like all the surrounding neighborhoods. A neighborhood that would be created through the effort and designs of numerous developers and builders, like all the surrounding neighborhoods. A neighborhood that would reflect the best thought of the 2020s, not a Potemkin village recreating the past, but a neighborhood that would, in 50 years, be considered the pinnacle of urban design of this century, an historic neighborhood in its own right, reflective of its own time. And so here we are today to mark the transition from the planning phase to the construction phase of the implementation of Covington's vision for Covington's newest neighborhood. Now, I'm going to ask you all, I'm going to do something here that no speaker should ever do, and that's to try to recognize all the people who have played a part in this. So I would ask you all not to applaud. Let me get through the whole list because it is a lengthy one. Our success in moving this project forward is the result of the hard efforts of many, many partners. Cooper Carey and the many people of Covington who created the vision for this site. O'Rourke Wrecking Company for removing the building and parking lot and preparing this site for this phase of redevelopment. Tim Sharp and KZF Design for translating the vision into constructible reality. J.S. Held and Bo Hubbard has been the city's knowledgeable agent in the oversight of this work. The Dries Company for being the first company to be awarded development rights for the construction of 16 townhomes along the section of 4th Street just behind me. Terracon Consultants and K&V Cultural Resources Management are providing environmental and archaeological oversight, expertise, and on-site work. And of course, Bray Construction Services, our general contractor, for being here to move the dirt, dig the ditches, run the conduit, pour the concrete, and coordinate with all of the governments and service providers involved in the physical infrastructure of this site. Meanwhile, there have been an array of government agencies and service providers involved, including the Federal Economic Development Administration, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Duke Energy, Sanitation District Number 1, the Northern Kentucky Water District, Planning and Development Services, Charmelie, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Alta Fiber, and the Kentucky Heritage Council. And of course, projects of this size require many governmental partners as well. I want to recognize and thank our Congressman Thomas Massey for his total and active commitment to assist Covington in this project. Senator Chris McDaniel for his effort in securing $125 million for the construction of a new home for Chase Law School and the University of Kentucky Medical School on this site. State Representative Stephanie Dietz for her unrelenting and successful effort to secure $10 million to support the construction of the infrastructure. And other members of the General Assembly, I don't know if they're here, but Senator Funky Frohmeyer, Representative Kim Mosier, Representative Kim Bana, all were supporters of this work. And on the city side, finally, I want to thank members of the Covington Economic Development Agency for their financial support and insights, including Chuck Shepper, Steve Frank, Bob Zapp, and Chris Knockelman. Our own economic development staff, led by Tom West, the Economic Development Director, City Manager Ken Smith, our Project Director Elizabeth Wetzel, and my colleagues on the Covington Board of Commissioners, Vice Mayor Ron Washington, and Commissioners Tim Downing, Shannon Smith, and Steve Hayden for their steady-handed guidance throughout the process. And now I want to end where I began, and that's with Covington's toughness, its self-awareness, and its comfort within its own skin, and its courage to take an exceptional approach to ensure that this neighborhood's development reflects the values and the vision of its citizenry. Many have thought that Covington bit off more than it could chew in accepting responsibility for this development. Well, to paraphrase Frank Sinatra, Covington faced it all, it stood up tall, and did it our way. Unapologetically, Covington. And with that, I would like to invite Senator Chris McDaniel to the podium. Senator McDaniel.
Well, thank you all so very much for being here today. And Mayor, congratulations on this coming to fruition. It has not been a short journey nor an easy one, and certainly sometimes the hardest thing is just getting the first shovel in the ground. And congratulations to you, to the commission, to Covington, the fact that we are here today. We are sincerely appreciative of your leadership. You know, it is an honor to stand here, and it's wonderful to see so many of my colleagues. We're finally getting a little bit of rest. Senator Shelley Funky Frohmeyer, that I've worked so long and hard with, and Representative Stephanie Dietz, all of whom do a great job for the city of Covington. But, you know, I listened to Mayor Meyer's remarks, and it kind of makes me think about the generational nature just of this site, because you know, when the mayor was a young man, this was brought here by civic leaders. And then as he came into his maturity as a leader, at the same time that I was a young man, and guys like Craig Kramer and Brandon Bray and I were working over like at Dixie Heights High School when we were fresh out of college in the Army, and coming here, and Scott and Brian from Bray, we worked together when we were young men, and now that we're becoming a little bit more mature in our careers, we get to involve ourselves in stuff like this, so people like my daughter Mallory will be able to enjoy the fruits of the labor that for her generation as it comes about. And it's certainly an honor to be a part of the team for the area that does this, to the mayor-elect Ron Washington and the commission for all that you guys have done, and what we'll get to continue to do together, because this is still obviously just the beginning of this. But such an honor to be a part of, such a great day for Covington, and such a generationally transformational project. So thank you to all that were involved. Mayor, thank you for your vision and your leadership, and let's get this started.
Thank you, Senator McDaniel. Senator McDaniel's leadership was simply extraordinary. And what the future of this will be is very much a product of the efforts he made during this legislative session. And now I would like to bring up his House counterpart, a little bit newer, but residents who worked just as hard and delivered in her own way just as much for Covington, and that's Representative Stephanie Dietz. And we sincerely appreciate her efforts on our behalf.
Thank you. Hello. It's a privilege to be here with all of you and a pleasure to celebrate today's ceremonial groundbreaking. Like many of you, I'm thrilled to see the contractors and utility providers move forward and really excited to see this project become reality. I promise to keep my comments short because frankly, I'd like to be invited back when we cut the ribbon and when this comes to fruition. The Covington Central Riverfront project is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to revamp this property and change our riverfront so that generations to come can enjoy it. Soon this land will be home to shops, housing, restaurants, and common spaces. It will bring people together and continue to build our sense of community. And before I close, I need to share my appreciation with my colleagues in Frankfort. I need to share my thanks to Senator McDaniel for his vision. With Mayor Meyer, we started meeting before session began. He actually had a vision. I was surprised when Senator McDaniel also shared that vision. I don't know that they knew they were sharing the vision. And I'm thankful to my leadership in the House. So this summer it started with inviting Representative Petrie to Northern Kentucky, where he toured 4 nonprofits, and he drove around up here. And I think that made a world of difference for him to see Covington, and he saw what we were doing here. So I need to thank Representative Petrie, and I need to thank my leadership. I need to thank Speaker Osborne and Speaker Pro Tem, because they listened to what the vision was, they listened to me, and they trusted when we went back after the Senate came back with their proposal, and then we went back and we had more asks. So I'm happy today. I'm thrilled to see this move forward, and congratulations to Mayor Meyer.
Thank you, Representative Dietz. A job well done. Now at this point, Scott Fryman. Scott is with Bragg Construction, and he's here to tell us why these pieces of equipment are behind us.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of Bragg, we want you to know that we are honored to be a part of this development for the city of Covington. As a company that lives and works in Northern Kentucky, this is a project we're passionate about. The enthusiasm and energy shown by everyone involved is exciting to see. Today marks the initial phase of construction, and I speak for the entire team that we are excited to take all the planning and hard work done to this point and begin making the project a reality for the city. Thank you.
And now we'll invite Covington's Economic Development Director, Tom West, to the podium. Tom?
Very short notes, very few words on here. First of all, just a housekeeping announcement. For our elected officials, we've got some swag bags over here, and we also have those for the young people that are going to help us with the groundbreaking here in just a couple of minutes. And as you're going to see, the youth of Covington are being represented today at this groundbreaking, because this is really about that generation. The rest of us are working hard on this, but it's really that generation that is going to enjoy the fruits of the labors, as Representative Dietz said. I've been saying for over a year now that the ultimate metric of success on this new neighborhood is going to be, does someone stand down here 50, 60, 100 years from now at the corner of 3rd and Russell, which doesn't exist right now, but it should be right over there here in about 9 or 10 months. And do they look around and say, what an amazing historic district? This really represents the early 21st century. And that is going to be one of the big metrics of success. I won't be around when that happens, but these young folks up here, they will be. And they will be able to judge if we've been successful in this. And who knows, maybe one of them is going to get Joe's job and be mayor of Covington by then. There's 2 other quick things I want to talk about, and one is speed. We have not let, as my grandma would say, any moss grow under our feet with this. When we acquired the property you're standing on right now, in 2020. Since then, we have been busy master planning, demolishing, doing environmental remediation, archaeological work, and for the past year and a half, doing all of the engineering that Bray is about to take those documents and build that infrastructure. The second thing I want to mention is vision. The mayor alluded to this, the senator, the representative, all talked about vision and how important that is. We very easily could have turned this over to one developer to develop their vision, but we would have had to operate on their timeline and we would have had to have succumbed to their vision. Instead, the people of Covington developed the vision for this new neighborhood. And that's what we'll start to see. It would have been a lot easier to do it the other way. My life would have been a lot less stressful, but I think long term, the way we're approaching this is going to be more sustainable over time, and it's going to be a neighborhood again that will become part of that Covington we all love.
These two right here are ready to. They're ready to work.
Nothing too silly. All right.
That's pretty exciting. Thank you.
All right.
Not take the same lead.
I need to.
We're going to hold it up and then throw it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that didn't do very well at all on that one.
All right.
Are we good?
Yes.